Hello and welcome everybody to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News. I'm your host, Zafiro Fierro. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social networks and to catch us every day by logging on to our website, www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. The Mexican company Startup Mexico and the American International Accelerator partnered with the purpose of creating fund to accelerate Mexican and Latin American startups in the United States. The fund will have an initial capital of $30 million. It will start operating in the fourth quarter of 2016 and will aim to support entrepreneurs seeking to venture into the world of startups. Initially, the fund will select projects in Mexico for 6 months under the guidelines stipulated by Startup Mexico. Afterward, the chosen projects may move to an acceleration process in Austin, Texas, under the leadership of International Accelerator. Both companies are not looking for a specific profile, but are open to all branches and projects, and the idea is to accelerate 100 startups during the first stage of the project. During this first stage of the project, the minimum amount of funding is approximately $10,000, while reaching on to the second stage in the United States, once they're past stage 1 and on to the next phase, the International Accelerator investment could reach at least $100,000. Moving on, Mexico is a country with many young entrepreneurs looking to solve problems through the creation of startups, which are seeking to positively impact society. Here are some Mexican startups that are positively impacting and benefiting society in some way. Find is a company that was founded by Nicolás Barreto. This is a mobile app that prompts the users not to use their cell phone while driving in their car, in exchange for rewards. Conciencia Hidráulica and Impacto Cero are two of the startups that are also seeking positive impact. The first one, Conciencia Hidráulica, has two products: an app that serves as a calculator and allows measuring the water consumption per person, and the second product is a physical verifier of water consumption. On the other hand, Impacto Cero is a startup dedicated to organizing mass events with zero impact of pollutants. Within Startup is Laboratoria Mexico, which seeks to promote the development of engineer women in Mexico. In 5 months, it prepares women to program and create web solutions. It seeks to increase the number of women coders in Mexico, which currently represents less than 10% of web programmers in the country. Finally, Vitaluz is a startup that develops and implements systems of sustainable electricity to light the homes with limited resources, which have no access to basic services. The first power auction of Mexico officially kicks off. It's an initiative pushed by the Federal Electricity Commission, who will elect one or more subsidiaries that will encourage the generation of clean energy in the country. These auctions are part of the new national electricity scheme, through which the domestic market is opened to private, national, and international companies, which from this year onward will sell to the government 3 products: electricity, power, and clean energy certificates. In this first exercise, the CFE will be the only buyer. They're seeking to acquire a total of 500 megawatts of power at a maximum price of 10 pesos per megawatt per year, plus 6.3 million megawatts per hour for 884 pesos per megawatt per hour, and 6.3 million clean energy certificates for 444 pesos each. Among the foreign companies that submitted projects is Italy's Enel Power, which has already invested in wind farms in Mexico, the Spanish Iberdrola and Fistera Energy. On the Mexican side is Invex Infrastructure, Gómez Hydro, and one of the branches of CFE. The result of the auction will be announced in April, while the deadline for the signing of contracts has been set for July 12th of the present year. In other news, 7 companies were the winners of the long-term first electric auction by the National Center for Energy Control. These companies submitted 11 projects that in 2018 will provide Mexico 1.720 megawatts of clean energy, a goal that will require an investment of about $2.116 billion over the next 3 years. The Undersecretary of Electricity Energy Secretariat, Cesar Hernandez, and the Director of CENES, Eduardo Meraz Azteca, reported that the companies authorized to produce and sell electricity were Recurrent Energy Mexico Development, Reynosa 3 Wind Farm, Sun Power Systems Mexico, the Stimulus to Renewable Energy, Enel Green Power, Gestamp Wind Mexico 2, and Alten Energías Renovables Mexico 5. According to the report, 56% of the sale offer was devoted to solar energy proposals, while the remaining 44% will be for the development of wind energy. The winning auction companies must build new plants to be installed in Aguascalientes, Coahuila, Guanajuato, Tamaulipas, and Zacatecas. In our final news, the Mexican economy expanded 2.5% year-on-year during the first months of 2016, according to estimate numbers. While service sector growth accelerated, industrial and agriculture sectors rose at a slower pace. The service sector grew at a faster 3.7% and above preliminary estimates of 3.5% expansion. The industrial sector went up 0.2%, worse than a preliminary 0.6% and 1.3% increase in the previous period. The slowdown was mainly driven by drop in mining sector, a minus 4.5%, of which oil minus 3.4% and non-oil minus 8.7%. Agriculture output rose 2.7%, lower than initial estimates of 3% and 1.3% increase in the previous quarter. On a quarterly basis, the economy expanded 0.5%, slowly from a 0.8% growth in the third quarter. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Zafiro Fierro, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Log on to www.mexiconewsnetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. We'll see you next time.